Welcome back to The Deep Dive. Today, we're going to dig into something pretty complex, actually. A dynamic and, let's be honest, challenging sector, the adult online industry. Our goal here is a real strategic, technical look at what it actually takes to build a successful adult website in, well, 2025. Now, yeah, the sources all say this industry is thriving, making huge money, but for anyone thinking of jumping in, the stakes are just incredibly high now. Competition's fierce. Users expect way more than they used to, performance-wise, quality-wise, and the regulations are getting much, much stricter.
That's exactly right. It's not just about having the content anymore, not by a long shot. For you, the listener, success really demands understanding the whole architecture. That means a rock-solid business plan, and I mean more than just, here's what we sell. You need a tech stack that's built for security, built for scaling video, massively. And absolutely critical, compliance, total non-negotiable compliance, baked in right from the start.
Okay, right, compliance. We'll definitely circle back hard on that. But let's unpack this. Maybe start with the market landscape, because I think the first mistake is treating it like it's all one thing.
Oh, absolutely. It's anything but monolithic. The online adult world today is really fractured. Specialized niches everywhere. You've got your classic tube sites, user uploads. Then there are these super technical, low latency live cam platforms. Big difference. And subscription sites, often built around specific creators, plus, of course, the adult dating or hookup scene, all very different models, and each one needs a totally different business setup, right? But the good news, I think, is that the tech available in 2025, it offers real opportunities if you build smart. We're seeing success really driven by things like better streaming tech, AI for moderation, which is huge, more flexible payment systems for high risk, and just stronger user security overall.
That differentiation point feels crucial, because the sources kept saying the market is incredibly crowded. If you try to be everything to everyone, well, it won't work.
You'll fail. Simple as that. You have to know your audience, your niche.
Okay, so if we agree a cool idea isn't enough, let's talk business plan. Why do people seem to skip this or underestimate it so much they just want to build the site?
Yeah, they rush straight to coding or maybe straight to thinking about the first dollar they'll make, but they don't calculate the real long-term costs, especially compliance and tech debt. The absolute first step before anything else, niche identification. Seriously, are you targeting a specific fetish? Live interaction? Super exclusive premium stuff? Because that decision drives everything else. Your features, how you market, and exactly how you plan to make money.
Right, monetization. The sources mentioned the usual suspects, ads, pay-per-view affiliates, but they really highlighted a shift towards subscriptions. Seems like that's gained a lot of ground.
Oh, massively. The subscription model has just picked up incredible steam. Look at platforms like OnlyFans, right? They basically proved that if you offer exclusive high-value content, maybe build a community around creators, you can get predictable, recurring revenue. And that predictable income, it's vital when your overhead for compliance and just running the tech is so high.
Okay, so you nail down the niche. You figure out the subscription model, maybe. How do you avoid getting stuck in development forever before you even launch? That seems like a common trap.
MVP, minimum viable product. You have to be relentless about it. Just the absolute core features needed to prove your main idea works. That's it.
So not perfection.
Definitely not perfection.
Yeah.
The goal is launch fast, get real feedback from actual users, and then adapt. Speed and adaptation are huge advantages here. And that early feedback, that buy-in, it tells you more about where to go next than any planning meeting ever will.
Okay, that makes sense. Which leads us neatly into the tech foundation. Once the strategy is clearer, you hit this big fork in the road, the technology choice. And this feels critical. It affects performance, user experience, security, how much you can even grow.
It really does. This is that classic custom build versus SaaS, software as a service dilemma. SaaS looks tempting, right? Fast launch, lower upfront cost.
Yeah.
But the downside is control, big time. You're often limited by what the platform allows, especially around things like payment processing for adult businesses or implementing really specific security or moderation rules. That can be a deal breaker.
So custom dev.
Custom development, yeah. It's a bigger initial investment, no question. But the payoff, especially in this industry, is total control. You can build exactly the features you need. Integrate with adult-friendly payment gateways. You mentioned Paxum earlier. That's a common one for high risk. And crucially, if you're planning to scale up significantly, custom is really the only way to go because you control your entire moderation system, your infrastructure.
Yeah.
Companies like SproutMe, for example, they specialize in building these custom platforms.
Oh, okay, let's get specific then. For a site that's heavy on video, maybe live streaming, needing real-time stuff, What are the core technologies people are leaning towards now?
Well, on the front end, what the user actually sees and interacts with frameworks like React or Vue.js are pretty standard now.
Why those specifically?
They're great for building really dynamic, responsive interfaces, smooth experience, handle data well, which is key, especially since so many users are on mobile. You need that seamless feel.
And the back end, the engine room.
Node.js is super popular. The reason is speed and how well it handles lots of connections at once. Absolutely vital if you're doing live cams or any real-time streaming where latency, delay is the enemy. PHP is still around. It's viable for maybe simpler sites. But for speed and scalability, especially to streaming, Node.js often has the edge. And then databases, your usual suspects like MySQL or MongoDB.
The biggest technical headache, though, has to be delivering all that video, right? Huge files, users everywhere. How do you avoid the dreaded buffering wheel?
CDN, Content Delivery Network. It's not optional anymore. It's basically mandatory for video. CDN caches your videos on servers all around the world, closer to your users.
So it loads faster for them.
Exactly. Cuts down buffering hugely, speeds up the whole site. And actually, it adds a layer of security, too. Helps absorb some types of DDoS attacks by spreading out the traffic load.
Okay, before we dive deep into the legal minefield, let's quickly tie up the tech side with payments and identity. High-risk payments, sensitive user data. What's the baseline requirement there?
KYC, know your customer. You absolutely have to integrate KYC procedures.
And that's not just a form they fill out.
No, it's a technical integration. Systems to verify user identity, sometimes creators, sometimes even consumers, depending on the model. It's crucial for fighting payment fraud, and it's increasingly required by financial regulations, which brings us right into our third big topic, compliance. And we got to be crystal clear here. Compliance isn't some checklist you tick off. It's got to be the bedrock. It fundamentally shapes your operational costs, your development priorities. The sources were unanimous. Screw this up and you're looking at huge fines, legal trouble, or just getting shut down.
Yeah, and the rules just keep getting tighter every year, it seems. Let's start with the one the sources flagged as maybe the biggest, toughest hurdle, age verification.
It's definitely one of the most critical legal duties. You need a system that provides a reasonable defense. Basically proof you're taking real steps to keep minors out. That usually means going beyond a simple, yes, I'm 18 checkbox. You often need to invest in specialized third-party systems.
And that costs money and integration effort, I assume.
A lot. Startups consistently underestimate the cost and the complexity of integrating a truly robust age verification system that satisfies legal requirements in different regions.
Okay, what's next on the compliance hit list? Content rights, especially with user uploads.
Exactly. Content licensing and copyright. If you allow user-generated content, your terms of service absolutely must state that users guarantee they own the rights or have a license for everything they upload. Yeah. But just having it in the terms isn't enough. You need processes, fast, effective processes for handling DMCA takedown notices. For a big UGC site, managing that volume, it's a major operational burden. You need staff or very smart automation, or likely both.
And then there's privacy, sensitive content, global users. Laws like GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California. What does that mean in practice?
It means the stakes are incredibly high. Users on these platforms share really sensitive data viewing habits, payment info. They expect, and legally deserve, strong protection. So, HTTPS encryption everywhere, that's non-negotiable, secure data storage that's actually secure, and a very clear upfront privacy policy explaining exactly what data you collect and why, and how you protect it. Building that trust is key for keeping users.
Okay, shifting gears slightly, but still related. User experience. You could be the most compliant site ever, but if it's clunky or hard to navigate...
People leave instantly. A clean interface, logical categories, filters that actually work, a fast search function. These aren't just nice extras. They directly impact how long users stay, how engaged they are, and ultimately how willing they are to pay for premium stuff. If they can't find what they want quickly, forget about converting them to paying customers.
And the security side. Adult sites must be huge targets for hackers, right?
Prime targets? Absolutely. You need the full stack. SSL certificates, enforcing strong passwords, offering two-factor authentication, 2FA ideally. The sources made it clear. These sites face constant threats. DDoS attacks, trying to knock out streaming, bots trying to scrape content or user data. Your infrastructure has to be built to withstand that. Hardened.
Last piece on this section. Moderation. With potentially huge amounts of content, especially UGC, what's the best practice now? Relying only on humans seems impossible at scale.
It is. The modern approach is usually a hybrid one. Start with automated AI filters. They catch the low-hanging fruit, illegal content, obvious policy violations, handles the sheer volume. But AI isn't perfect. So human moderators are still essential. They act as an appeals board, handle the tricky edge cases, the nuanced stuff AI misses like subtle copyright issues or context-dependent policy violations. That combo offers the best balance of scale and accuracy for a safer platform.
Okay, wow. So we've built the operational fortress, hopefully. We have the plan, the tech foundation, the compliance framework locked down. Now, how do you actually get noticed and grow in this insanely crowded market?
Right, the growth challenge. Well, the old saying, content is king, still holds true, but it's more nuanced. Diversification is key now. You probably need a mix, HD video, sure, high-quality photos, but also low-latency live streams for that real-time connection. Maybe blogs for SEO value and building trust, even forums to build a community. Different users want different things.
And that mix often involves user-generated content versus, say, professionally produced stuff.
Often, yeah. There's a balance to strike. UGC provides volume and variety, like more gas for a tube site. But as we said, it comes with huge monitoring and compliance overheads. Professional, maybe exclusive content. That builds your brand, justifies higher prices, builds loyalty. Finding the right strategic mix for your specific niche is really important for sustainability.
Growth hacks. This is tough because traditional channels are often blocked, right? No Facebook ads, tricky with Google.
Exactly. You can't rely on mainstream marketing. So, number one, technical SEO becomes absolutely vital. Since you can't easily buy ads for broad terms, you have to rank organically. That means intense focus on mobile optimization. Most users are on phones and targeting long-tail keywords. Hyper-specific phrases that your niche audience is actually searching for. Page load speed is also critical for SEO here.
And beyond SEO, where do you promote?
You have to go where the audience is, which means adult-friendly social media platforms, specialized forums, communities like Reddit and specific subreddits. But the strategy can't just be dropping links. That gets you banned fast. It's about genuine engagement, building a reputation within those communities, offering value. That kind of organic growth is powerful.
Makes sense. What about affiliates? That seems like a classic strategy in this space.
It's still huge. You need a really compelling affiliate program. Work with creators, with other sites, offer good commissions, maybe exclusive deals, make it worth their while to actively promote you. And underpinning all of this growth effort, analytics. You have to track what visitors are doing, where they come from, what content they engage with, what leads to conversions. That data is gold for refining your strategy and staying ahead.
Okay, let's quickly recap some key monetization points people might be wondering about. It's not just one method, usually.
Almost never just one. The smart play is usually combining methods. Subscriptions, yeah, but maybe also pay-per-view for special content, tips for live performers, affiliate commissions earned from your site. Layering them maximizes revenue streams. And just to clarify for listeners, you don't necessarily have to create your own content. Affiliate networks like AW Empire or Got Profits, they let you build a site that earns commissions purely by promoting other people's content legally. That's a whole different model.
Right. So, summing up the critical path for launching in 2025, meticulous planning, ironclad compliance from day one, choosing the right tech, whether custom or a carefully vetted SaaS, and then really targeted, niche-focused growth tactics. Oh, and as a final little detail from the source's interesting note about Wix, apparently, unlike many mainstream builders, they don't outright ban adult content, provided it meets their specific terms, often around artistic, educational, medical, or protest contexts, something to be aware of.
Yeah, that adaptability is interesting, especially contrasted with the really high barriers we spent most of our time discussing. Which actually leads to a final thought, maybe something provocative for you, the listener, to mull over. Given everything we've talked about, the huge investment needed for specialized security, the complex AI moderation systems, the mandatory global compliance hurdles like KYC and age verification, how will these massive barriers to entry reshape this industry? Are we heading towards a future where only a few very large, heavily capitalized, compliance-focused platforms can realistically operate and thrive? Will it become almost impossible for independent creators or smaller startups to launch and compete without significant outside funding? It's a big question about market concentration driven by these operational necessities.
That's a really powerful question to end on. Definitely something to think about as this complex, highly specialized industry continues to evolve. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.